This is Life in a Wine Bottle, where you get an in-depth look on what it takes to create and sell a bottle of wine. I'm your host, Nelson Pizarro. We have special guest, Maurice DiMarino. He oversees a little over 25 restaurants for the Cohn restaurant group. In part 2, Maurice gives us some great tips and advice on building great relationships with restaurants. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel and iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or like us and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Life in a Wine Bottle. Enjoy the episode. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Castelli Family Vineyards, where you can taste the love of the wine. Follow and like them on Instagram at CastelliFE. Bespoke Maestro, they make elegant dresses and suits benefiting any occasion. Follow them on Instagram at Bespoke Maestro. San Diego Wine Tasting App. Easy to use, free to download, fun to find a new winery. Download the app today on Apple Store and Google Play. Search for San Diego Wine Tasting App. The Cohn Restaurant Group. While each restaurant varies widely in terms of food and design, they all share in the Cohn's obsessive with hospitality. Their philosophy focuses on superior service and comfort, providing a premier dining experience for each guest. The quality and excellence of Cohn Restaurant has not gone unnoticed. Now let's get on with the show. I remember we did one at, I saw you at Ventana. Ventana or Ventana?
Ventana.
Ventana. And actually, a good friend of mine worked there. I don't know if she's starting back up again. I don't know what the whole thing is going on really. But her name is Nicole, and she usually listens to podcasts. So that's why I say her name. And she's a server there. She's great. She knows the regulars. And I did that place outdoor, and I saw you there again. And I want to bring this up because you brought up about having your managers choose the wines, which I think it's super important and unique because you really, you go to the restaurants, but you really don't see the regulars coming through and what they like and the approach. And obviously foods are a big part of it, but the regulars are the ones that dictate of what they're buying, So if you like something that's down south and you're trying to bring it up north or Escondido area, and it's not selling and you just keep on pushing, you will lose those regular customers. So you really, really see and thought around that business model of it, of giving the managers that option. So when I did that, I went to that restaurant, they brought me in, and unfortunately, like we said, the turnover rate is a little bit higher than not, but he's no longer there, that manager. But I personally got, I think, 3 to 4 wine members out of that one event that I went to. And the Costera one, it took 3 years. I don't know if you believe it or if you know or not, but it's been 3 years that we did that one event down there. And 2 months ago, no, August. Yeah, well, so 1 month ago, a wine member or a lady calls me and says, "Hey, we met you at some event." I'm like, "Well, I haven't been to an event for a long time because we're just kind of growing." And I try to go different places. And she shows up. I'm like, "Don't I know you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was the one that called." I said, "Sweet." I'm like, "Where did I meet you at?" She's like, "Costera." And I'm like, "That was like 3 years ago." And she's like, "Really?" And she really thought it was like last week that we met. And they physically came like, "Man, it's been a long time." And I said, "Yeah." And then they became wine members. So 3 years it took to plant that seed, let that vine grow, give me some fruit, and there the fruit's coming in now. And there was 2 of them that did that. So it was because of that. And obviously I got to say, it wasn't just my personality. They like the wines.
Sure.
Like obviously you can sell so much of your personality, but the wines, you have to have a little bit of everything. The wine's personality and the atmosphere. You get all 3 of those, I believe that you'll start becoming a little more successful and growing your space there. So it was because of you, basically, that connection. Believe it or not, even though I didn't call you and thank you, it's I appreciate that you opened the door and you made it easy for me. You weren't so, "No, I don't have time." So thank you very much, and thank you. And I hope everybody's listening to that, and hopefully you don't get too many calls now. and
No,
getting
I think
crazy.
I think that's why I do those events. I think it's great for like a lot of the wineries like yourself and smaller wineries that don't get a chance. We have a lot of big wineries that are there as well, but I think with you guys, it's where the way you can kind of showcase your product. And I've always been a big firm believer that the San Diego wine market should be more in the market. Unfortunately, there's a lot of reasons we don't carry a lot of San Diego wines, and it's not because of the quality. It's just usually because of not being able to produce enough for us to be able to carry it.
Hmm.
And so that's the main thing. But I really want San Diego to drink San Diego wine because it's such. I think if you're drinking, eating locally, it's like drink locally too. And
Correct.
there's some really good stuff coming out there right now.
Yeah.
We just finished doing our making our rosé here in San Diego.
Oh, sweet.
Came
What
out really
grapes? From what grapes?
Sangiovese.
Okay.
We put a little Merlot in there as well, but it's just mostly Sangiovese, and just it's beautiful. It's bright. It's got great acidity. It's got great finish. I mean, I can for my style of rosé, it came out really really nice. We call it the
Oh, nice.
Revelous,
Okay.
and we're also working with another project, hopefully down the next couple of years with another San Diego winery where we're going to do our harvest and pick and do the wine ourselves there and blend it. And that's something we're working on as well down the road. But I think that's my goal is to find unique ways of engaging with our San Diego wineries.
Yeah. Obviously, that's an extra. That's another plate. That you're gonna start juggling now, right? Because it's not just, hey, I'm just gonna get grapes and start making wine. It is a process, as you know, and I'm glad that you're able to kind of push the San Diego avenue. Because yes, as time goes, vineyards are growing, and they're seeing that there is a need, and that's basically coming to my next question that I had. The advice that you want to give a new label, um, anybody trying to get into, not just yourself, but because obviously everybody has different criterias for your specific position, but most likely it's almost the same. So what kind of advice do you give new labels trying to get to you or get into the industry?
God, I did a talk over at Ramona Vintners Association several years ago on this topic, and I did a PowerPoint presentation to them about labels.
Real
And
quick, nothing crazy. I know I don't want you
yeah,
to get to.
no, what I'm coming down to is that what it is that a label, you have to realize what your wine is and what you want to get out of that wine. What's your market, right? And if you're going to be the kind of winery that, oh, it's all about, I want to show myself. So I want to put a picture of myself on the label,
Yeah.
and because this is where I grew up in this house and I made this wine. Well, that's very limiting. You're going to put a picture of yourself, and it's got to mean something to very few people.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're trying to get into like a restaurant or high-end retail, the label's got to meet your guest needs, and what is your guest looking for. So I think it's a fine line there of what you're trying to do, how you balance out like promoting your brand at the same time promoting your brand while making it look attractive to the consumer who's looking for something.
Mhm.
What is it? Is a wine a serious wine? Is it like have structure and body and tannins, or is it just like a whimsical, easy drinking summer kind of wine? Well, then the label should tell you that.
Mhm.
If it's got structure and seriousness, then it should be a serious label. If it's
Mhm.
going to be whimsical, then make it look silly and whimsical. That's what people are going to do.
Oh, that's
Um,
perfect. That's a perfect description there of how. Yeah, because that's the hardest part. I mean, like I always tell guests, they'll ask me how come you're not in restaurants, and I said, first the biggest one, like you mentioned, is quantity. Restaurants, they can't just buy 2 cases and then you're sold out. You know, like you're just like, well, I love the wine. The guest bought it really quick in a week, and now what are we doing?
yeah,
And it's just not our side of it. It's all your side. You spend a lot of time. You had to get the menu on there. You had to get the price, and you had to teach your own staff, and then all of a sudden you're sold out. So that's one side of it. And then on our side, we gotta just build a bigger, base or cases or inventory with a good price point for you guys, to help that everybody has to win throughout everything. And then the label side of it, I always tell people like, there's probably behind the bar 200 bottles, maybe even more. So why is my label standing out next to the one that a Gallo label or a Dow or something Leaf, Sag Leaf? Why is my label not standing out? You know what I mean? And those are always
Mhm.
the challenges. And you put it perfectly of who you want to be and who you want to say and who you want the wines represent on that label. And that's just the marketing side, right? You can't tell anybody what to do. It's just if you think this is what it is, this is what you're gonna sell, and you sell it as hard as you can. So yeah, I love the what you're talking about, the labels. That's perfect, and that's basically a nutshell. That's what in a nutshell, labeling and how you want it to look. What would you say the downfall is for any new winery that you got really excited about? You brought them in, and then all of a sudden they just kind of vanished. Have you had any of those?
I mean, it happens, but it's not very often. I think it's not a big issue for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't see that being a big issue.
So that's
Uh,
not the normal because you're getting
no,
bigger
I think
wineries.
what happens more often than not is wineries come in and they have a certain quality and a certain uh, pedigree, and then somewhere down the road, as you keep that wine stays in your menu for a few years, well, they changed their whole winemaking process. It's no longer what that wine used to be. Now they're sourcing fruit. Now they're sourcing fruit from different regions. They're not putting the same juice into it.
Yeah.
The
Barrels or
everything barrel
they might have
selection.
cut some corners now because they got
Yeah,
too
to
big.
make more production. So we've got more
Uh-huh.
production. Now it's out there. It's another wine is not how it was. I came across this several times when I'm teaching because I'm trying to know, oh, I know that wine. That wine is the wine I want to show this. Well, I pick up the latest original vintage of that, take it to class, and I'm like, this is not what it used to be.
Yeah, you
This is
look at the
not what it
label and
used
you're
to be.
like,
Yeah,
is this the same company?
yeah. I think
Oh, that makes total sense. And
I, I
that's
always
complete
I
sense.
always look at the back of the label when I buy wine. I always look at the back of the label and see what does it say? Is it vintage by? Is it cellar by? Or is it produced and bottled by? I try to find ones that are produced and bottled by because there I feel there's going to be more control over what the winemaker and what the winery is trying to do. Whereas the vintage and cellar by, I don't know where they're going to get the fruit from this year. Next
Yep.
year might change, might be different fruit sources. And the wine's already made, and they probably they did very little to that wine. They just put a
Correct.
label on it, so there's not a lot of consistency with those sorts of wines.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that happening. And personally, I wouldn't think that would happen to you or to me. But then who knows? What if you get big? And I can see like, oh, I gotta buy bulk wine from over here, and maybe I can just blend it with some of my wine here, and then
Right,
we're good to go.
right.
And then all of a sudden, my quality and the passion is more of I gotta get you more bottles, instead of
Mm,
I don't have enough bottles, and hey, I'm gonna give my bottles to my wine members or my guests, and then I'm gonna give excess to the restaurant side of it. Not the opposite, trying to get for the dollar. It's super hard though, because as you know, the vineyard side. I don't know if you ever see money coming in. You'll see money coming out really quick.
sure.
Like this year, we probably, I would say, we had to buy about 20 barrels, and 20 barrels are it's probably going to cost us
30,000.
yeah 20 to 45 because we get about I was 8 to 9 barrels that are 16 to $2,000
Sure, sure.
and I'm kind of worried. I know the barrel companies have been calling me because they know I usually order at this time because I don't like to order too many barrels and I want to order at the right time. And we finally found 2 barrel cooperage that we enjoy the most, and we're gonna stick with that route. And obviously, there's the most expensive ones. I don't know why, but they had to been the most, and they physically shipped the wood from France, and all this fun stuff that you start getting into. And I probably will have a podcast with them because people love hearing about barrels and how they're produced. Um, and just like that, and then before the 30, let's just say 30 rough $1,000, 2 weeks ago we bottled, and that was almost a little over 10,000 bottles, 11,000 bottles, plus the labels, plus the corks, plus the bottle machine. So you're just like, this is 20 grand already. And I'm not going to see these bottles. I'm not going to give these bottles out to customers until 2025. because we sit on our bottles. This was supposed to be a hop. They call our vineyard a gentleman's vineyard because my father-in-law did it at, we started as a hobby, and it kind of went a little too crazy. So 10,000 bottles started. Now it seems big, but it's in the scheme of things, it's very small. A little over 800 cases. But I can see that you said that about the quality of wine. I can see it going really down because you're cutting so many corners, because you need that wine right away. And there's no way to make, for me, I don't think there's any way to make good wine without letting it take its time. That's my personal opinion. And everybody has their own, either in stainless steel or in barrels or any other routes in the egg shapes, caskets. We just feel like our personal style is keep them in barrels, take their time aging, and then from there, take its time in the bottles, and then we can give it to our customers. But you can kind of start feeling a little more pressure, and not just the pressure of the bottle, of the cash flow, but the inventory. We just have so much inventory. We have about 30,000 bottles in our storage, with the AC unit, obviously. And I'm like, I gotta start moving product. I don't know what to do. And we're gonna we're showing off our 2015, 2016 vintages. But it's so fun to see. 2016, my daughter was born. Our last daughter was born. So it's you always have some type of memories with the years that went through.
Sure.
Sure. But thanks for sharing that part with not so much the downfalls, but of the challenge that you see, and hopefully people listen to that and really, because we only have one shot with wines, right? As soon as it gets corked, you'll get another bottle and you're just kind of like, maybe I shouldn't get that bottle and go somewhere else, But that's great to hear. What about your goals? What's your ultimate goals personally and with these restaurants? Is there anything that you've been looking to do lately as goals wise?
Yeah, no, I think right now our got quite a few things happening. Right now, it's just trying to get past where we're at right now with COVID,
Yeah.
and figure out what the future is. The future is so uncertain right now. We don't know what dining restaurants will be like again and when it's going to happen again. So that's a concern. But yeah, my goals are really to kind of expand the program that we're doing and get a little more. I like to get a little more creative and energetic with our guests and our teams. This year I took my teams down to Mexico. We made our own mezcal, so now we roll mezcal for our restaurants.
Oh,
I think that's
nice.
kind of like the things I really want to work with them. At some point, maybe get into our distilling and do our own, cordials and things along those lines. And that's another goal of ours. Maybe make your own gin. We've already made 4 wines ourselves, so we have 4 private labels that we work with.
Nice.
So we have that already in the wine front, and we were going to build a brewery, and I'm still not sure where that's going to land, if it's going to open or not. But that was kind of another goal for us to do, is to make our own beer as well. So
Wow, you got some big. Yeah, that isn't little stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I think it's
goals.
just expanding and figuring things out that trying to change the restaurant scene altogether, and instead of just being a place to come in and dining, but coming in and having an experience you can't have anywhere else is what my goal is, and figure that out. Right now there's we were on a track to do something, and now it's feeling we got pushed back, several years, and then we're gonna start over again. So we'll see how it goes, but that's kind of the main thing right now.
Wow. And then what about promotion? Give us some good ways to promote you guys, the restaurants. Obviously, everything's reservation, right? Calling so give us a little bit like your Instagram, the Cohn Restaurants Instagram.
Yeah, well, you can go to the Cohn Restaurant. Cohn Restaurants is our Instagram. Cohn Restaurants group in Facebook. Hashtag DiningCRG is our hashtag. You can engage with us via email. Sign up for eCuisine emails, and you can do it on our website at www.cohnrestaurants.com.
And Cohn is COHN.
Correct. COHN
restaurants.com. Restaurants.com.
Yep.
Perfect.
And you can go there and sign up on eCuisine. The first thing you'll see the pop up to sign up for our newsletter. So That's the best way to engage.
Mhm.
But I think social media is the way to go. Follow us on Instagram. It's a good outlet to see what's going on in the restaurants each day. Kind of let you know new specials, new products. What we're up to and stuff like that. So
And then you personally, I know I have your Instagram on my phone, but go ahead and say your handler's name.
my Instagram is Dao Maoistao, and my Facebook it's Maurice DiMarino, and Twitter it's Maurice's Crew. So CRU.
Perfect. So make sure people listening, if you want to follow them or just go out to restaurants. I mean, 25. You're from Chula Vista up to Escondido, or
Yeah, Imperial Beach all the way
it's
to
yeah.
Long Beach,
Yeah.
and
So
we have two in Maui.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of options, and obviously, like we just said, hopefully nothing crazy happens within this next couple of hours, and then when I put this podcast next week live, that we're still good to go having dining out restaurants and coming in. And any wine collection you have there at your house or?
I have a little one.
Yeah.
I keep things downstairs. I have a basement with it's a perfect area. It's all dark, all cemented,
Oh,
and
nice.
have some wines in there.
Okay, some of your special stuff, but you're not so much a collector because you really enjoy just getting those wines at a special occasion and just drinking them.
There's things I have put away, but no, I think if I like something, I'll buy a case of it and just let it sit there for a while, and then dab into it, every once in a while.
Oh,
But that's about it. It's not, I mean, maybe a couple hundred bottles, not that much. So
okay. Which is a lot, but we'll say it's not that much.
yeah, well, compared to a lot of people, so I
A
don't know.
lot of the
I'm
collectors,
not a
yes,
collector.
you're not a true collector because usually there are 1% that don't even touch the bottles. They just love that, like collecting cards and cars and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So last one, I do a little game called Spit Wine Game. I'm gonna give you 5 questions and you say them as quick as you can. The answers, real easy. Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
All right, white or red?
White.
Favorite bottle, and you can't say Castelli Family Vineyards.
Just totally things. Favorite bottle. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Give me two of them. I'll give you favorite varietal. How about that?
Reason.
Perfect. Winery then? Is there one winery that you're just like, this is amazing place? Anywhere.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna say is it's not Riesling, but it's Bindi in Australia.
Nice. What about region? Would it still be in Australia? Favorite region you'll go to?
San Diego, my friend.
Nice. And last bottle you opened.
Last one I opened was actually it was a canned wine.
The canned wine? Yeah, you were saying that. And was it
It was
the good one?
it was actually pretty good. It's called
Okay.
Purely Ugly. It's called Purely Ugly. It was
Really ugly.
but
Oh, nice.
it has actual structure. It was really good.
So this one was one that you say, okay, I can get this one, but there's been a lot of them that you're kind of iffy on the canned stuff, huh?
No, there's some good stuff. I want to see more higher quality stuff. I think
Oh, okay, okay,
there
okay.
are some good stuff out there, but I just think I want to see more. There's nomadic makes good wines. There's some really cool stuff out there. So
Interesting. Well, that's good. Well, perfect. Would you like to add anything else? Do you have anything else to add?
no, I think it's really good. If you have anybody who's interested in entering the spirits competition, I am the chief spirits judge for the San
Okay,
Diego
cool.
International Wine Challenge.
Go ahead. What's the handler name, or I assume you have
It's
social media?
San Diego International Wine and Spirits Challenge. So I
Okay.
know a lot of local distillers might be looking to enter their spirits and see how they fare with other spirits from around the world, and we do that in January. So entries are due in December.
Yeah, let's see if we can. I see you down the road. If you want to come to the winery, or I'm sure I'll get one of these event things, and then I'll come out, and then we go again. We plug away,
Well,
and hopefully sooner than later.
well, I want to say thank you for having me, and the fact that one of the first day you came to taste with wine with me, and I thought you were so eager and so excited, and I thought this is gonna be cool. We finally got this guy is taking over his family's winery, and he's got this energy, and he's all excited. When I tasted your wines, I'm going, God, they're good. I was surprised. I was like, I wasn't really expecting like Cabernet from San Diego, because a lot of cabs in San Diego are just eh.
Yeah.
And these guys doing a good job. So,
Oh, good.
and now to see how far you've come, and you're just so energetic and so passionate about what you're doing. So I think that's what's going to drive you in your business, and keep up the good work. I'm really excited to see
I
what you're doing right now.
appreciate it. Yeah, I hope this helps out the other, our region. At the end of the day, that's my goal, is to really help out our region and grow from there. And on the other side, like I said, I like to learn. It's easier to learn from people that have done it, and just pick ideas from them. So thank you very much for that compliment. And anything else? You're good to go.
I'm good, Nelson. Thanks for having
Sweet.
me.
I really
All right.
appreciate it. Have a good weekend. I hope nothing too crazy happens today with any news. So please, I hope, I
Fingers
hope.
crossed. All right.
Yes, I hope that we can still go out there. So we'll be supporting you guys soon, and I'm hopefully I see you down in one of the restaurants one of these nights or
Absolutely.
down the week. All right, bro. Have a
Absolutely.
good one. That was the end of our episode. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. Thank you very much, Maurice and the Cohn Restaurant Group, for taking your time and sharing with us some great information of how to get wines into your restaurants. And everybody listening, I would love for you guys to support the Cohn Restaurant Groups. Just make sure you follow them or go on their website and find the closest restaurant to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube, iTunes, Google Play channels, and also follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram at Life in a Wine Bottle. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Nelson Pizarro, and we'll see you guys next week.